Welcome to Newcastle, the 6th largest city of Australia and its 2nd oldest. Located just 160 kilometres north of Sydney, Newcastle is the predominant city of the Hunter Valley region, situated at the mouth of the Hunter River. This is how most people know Newcastle, an industrial town. Newcastle has a long history of coal mining, dating back to its founding days in 1797, and is now the largest coal export harbour in the world. But Newcastle isn't only known for its heavy industry, it also boasts a thriving community of world-class actors, musicians and athletes, including Sarah Winter, Justin Norris, Silverchair, Miss Universe herself Jennifer Hawkins, Mark Richards, Yahoo Serious, and me. Wait, who?
Me! Hi, I'm Andrew, and I'm an Avocastrian. If you don't trust my pedigree, I was born here, I went to school here, and high school here. I'm a bona fide Newcastle boy. Now, for the last 8 or so years, I've been living in Sydney and Melbourne, and I'm about to head overseas to the UK for a while. Before I go, I thought I'd take a look around my hometown again, to try and shake some of my old memories loose.
Living in Newcastle for so long, I've seen quite a bit of the place, and along the way I've noticed a few things. The weirdest thing I've found over the years is that Newcastle is full of dicks. Now, before my fellow Novocastrians reach for their flaming torches and pitchforks, let me show you what I mean. First of all, we have the obelisk. Standing tall and proud above the city, it was erected in 1850 to replace an old windmill that had fallen out of use and had been used by ships as a guiding mark. Now it's become a popular lookout point. Next we have one of the star attractions of the Newcastle shoreline, Nobby's Head Lighthouse. Established in 1854, it was the third lighthouse built in New South Wales and overlooks the entrance to Newcastle Harbour. This stubby little protuberance is actually the Newcastle City Council building. Kind of says a lot, really. Further out in the suburb of Ellamore Vale is the Shaft. Now it's a watering hole and shopping centre. There's Newcastle's first steps into the world of renewable energy. And finally, the crowning glory of the Newcastle foreshore, the Queen's Wharf observation tower. One night, many years ago, I was out with a past girlfriend and a group of her friends when the conversation turned to this embarrassing looking monument that had been perched on the otherwise picturesque foreshore. As we were chuckling away, one of the girls who was with us suddenly became quite defensive. It turns out it was her dad who had designed it.
Do I need to keep going? I mean, this sort of thing's everywhere.
Even one of the city's largest car dealerships has a giant chicken named Charlie as its mascot.
So what's going on here? Did the founding fathers of Newcastle just have a really strange sense of humour when they were naming these places? Or am I just reading too much into it? Well, I'm not too sure, but if this next place is any indication, I think I may be onto something.
This is the Bogey Hole, a popular swimming spot located close to King Edward Park. It was originally carved out of rock by convicts for the personal use of the Commandant of Newcastle at the time. Apparently the name comes from the Aboriginal word that means to bathe, which sounds plausible. But still, would you be willing to take a dip in something that sounds like it came out of your own nose?
That's not all. We also have Blackbutt Reserve, and of course, one of Newcastle's premier night spots, Fanny's. Yes, that is its real name. Okay, I'll admit it, it's not all so strange, and I am being very selective. There are still plenty of fantastic places around Newcastle that have perfectly normal names.
For instance, this is King Edward Park. Situated on the hill, that's the actual name of this area, the hill, and overlooking the ocean, this stunning area features flower gardens, pergola, picnic areas, and plenty of space to run around. There's also a winding road that snakes around the outskirts of the park, passes along the top of the cliffs, and finally reaches the top of the hill. There's an annual event called the Hill Climb that takes place here that's been going since 1963. It's also one of the many places my friends and I would drive around for fun when we were younger. Another nice place in the heart of the city is Civic Park, opened in 1937 and boasting this fountain as its centrepiece. It looks a lot smaller now than it did when I was a kid, but that's a common problem with nostalgia, I guess. Finally, what kind of guide to Newcastle would be complete without mentioning the beaches? When I was living in Sydney and Melbourne, I always used to chuckle when anyone boasted to me about their beaches. That was always when I'd remind them that I'm from Newcastle. There are more beaches here than anywhere else in the entire country, with over 50 of them stretching from Lake Macquarie to Port Stephens, and they're all unique in their own ways. Along just one road in town you have iconic Nobby's Beach, the more accessible Newcastle Beach, our favourite Bar Beach, followed by Merriweather Beach at the end. I haven't checked the skin cancer rates in Newcastle, but I get the feeling we may lead the world in this area too. Well, that's my brief tour of Newcastle. Coming back here after so many years living away, I've discovered a bit of a newfound appreciation for the place, but to be honest, I find it's a much nicer place to visit than to live. Despite its size, Newcastle is more like an overgrown country town, and for me it just doesn't have the right sort of atmosphere that made me enjoy living in Melbourne so much. I still have family and a lot of friends here though, so I'm still going to be tied to the place for a while yet.
See you next time.